I'm John from Let's Talk, and today we're going to be talking about the 1998 neo-noir film, Wild Things. But before we dive into that and its brand new Arrow 4K release, if you're interested in 4K Blu-ray reviews, film reviews, video game reviews, and tech reviews, we do them all here on this channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on. So Wild Things came out in 1998 and is directed by John McNaughton. And this film stars such great actors as Neve Campbell, Denise Richards, Matt Dillon, and Bill Murray in a great role in my opinion. So this film's kind of strange for me. I had never seen this film until I picked up this 4K from Arrow Video. I saw that Arrow Video was really promoting this film and it made me do some research on it. I had never actually seen this film. The only thing I had known about this film is that Bill Murray was in it. I had seen clips of his role on many people talking about their favorite Bill Murray role, but I had never actually seen the film. I knew of it. I did not know anything about this going in. I had never seen a trailer, nothing. I saw that Kevin Bacon was in it, and I saw that actually I believe he had a producing role in it. So when I saw that Google had defined this film and Wikipedia as a neo-noir film, I had thought, okay, I know what I'm getting into. And then I kind of felt like while I was watching it and with the opening credits that this was like a neo-noir kind of like in the vein of like Body Heat, in the vein of like Body Heat or anything like that, based on the fact that it takes place in Florida just like that film does. So that's kind of what I was expecting this film to be. It was a very serious, erotic, thriller, neo-noir film, and it is that. But there is a lot more to this. This is definitely more of a schmaltzy B-movie comedy kind of tone. I would define this as a black comedy in my opinion, because there was just so much in this movie that was just, me and my wife were having a great time. We were just laughing at this movie the whole time. I had to look it up to make sure that these people were delivering these lines the way that they were supposed to. I just couldn't wrap my head around the way that some of these lines were being delivered and how the tone of the whole film was. It felt very much to me like kind of like what 1998 tabloid culture was like. So like if like Us Weekly would put like articles in their magazines about what rich people are doing or what their families are doing or what's happening in these small rich towns, I felt like that's what they were depicting the Van Ryn family to do. I felt like that this is like what we felt like these families were doing. This film was trying to show to us exactly what was happening in tabloids. Like, this is what you think is happening. And that's why the line delivery and the way that this film is portrayed, I felt like that's exactly what they were trying to get across to us, because this film is just, it's just very funny. And like certain aspects of this movie, just really, the way that these people are talking to each other, especially when Teresa Russell is talking to Denise Richards, and like Denise Richards walks in and she just starts crying and like the most fake cry ever, like and she's like coming up, she's like, what's wrong, honey? And she comes up to her, she puts her hand on her back and everything, trying to be like a caring mother, even though she clearly doesn't care. And she's like, I miss Dad. We don't know who Dad is yet, so they tell us, like, he's like, and she's like,
He didn't have to kill himself, Kelly.
And I was like, what is this? What am I watching here? And then it took me a little while to realize the way that they're all talking, and then in the following scene when Matt Dillon's character is trying to get his car parked, and the valet tells him, we don't park your car here anymore. He gets out of his car, he slams the door, and he's like, you're done here, Lombardo. I'm like, what is going on? I couldn't wrap my head around it. So I guess more people probably knew what this film was going in and just having no idea. It took me a little while to figure out exactly what kind of schmaltzy kind of film this is. And you know what? Once I kind of got into it and realized that all this is intentional, what they're trying to show us, I really did get into the film. I really thought it was a fun little romp from the 90s. I had a great time. Bill Murray stole the show for me, as he usually does. He's hysterical. He knew exactly what he was in the entire time. One of my favorite scenes is just a little scene is when he's going to pick up Matt Dillon from jail, and he walks by, I guess, one of his other clients, because he plays one of the biggest, I guess, you know, like a strip mall kind of lawyer. He ain't nothing special, but he's probably one of the better ones in town still anyway. And he walks by and one of his clients is in jail, and he's like, hey man. He just walks by him like, I don't know if that's a good sign if you're trying to get yourself a lawyer, but that's the best you could do. And you know, he's got the neck brace on the entire movie just because of him. You know, I guess he has his own insurance claims out there trying to get some money from suing. He's a lawyer. He's a sleazebag lawyer. What else would you expect? And Bill Murray's perfect for playing a sleazebag lawyer. And everybody plays their parts well. I really have nothing bad to say. Once you figure out what kind of movie they're in, you know that the acting, even though it's bad, I think it's bad intentionally. It's just crazy that they got these big actors to play these roles in this kind of movies. Like, I wouldn't expect, like, Neve Campbell and Denise Richards, that makes perfect sense for this kind of movie, but you have Kevin Bacon and Matt Dillon and Teresa Russell, who's been in some neo-noir films on her own before this, so it's just having them all in this kind of film and doing the line deliveries that they are doing, it really is something special that I can't, I really feel like if you haven't seen Wild Things and you're just listening to me ramble on about it, try and go into it as blank as you possibly can. You're gonna have a real fun movie viewing experience. That's what I had. I had a blast watching this film with my wife last night. We just had a great time laughing. But you know what? Besides how the line delivery is and the dialogue, the plot is actually pretty damn good. The screenplay was written by Steven Peters, and I think he did a great job wrapping up all of the noir twists in there and really selling you on what this plot is and making you actually get wrapped up in what twist is coming, because this movie might set a record for the most twists in a film. And they are still explaining the plot to you after the credits go. So you know, we're all used to post-credit scenes with Marvel movies, but they would show the end, and they would show like a little plot hole that you might be thinking in your head, or a scene that like they do off camera. They'll show it to you in the credits and everything. So they answer every single question. Like, I've always complained I don't want every question answered in a movie. I think leaving it ambiguous and leaving it up to the viewer is a very good part. I don't think we need every single question answered in every film that we see. But this worked for this film. This film, I feel like everybody knew what kind of film they were making, and I think they all had a blast doing it based on what I'm seeing as a viewer. I really can't say really too many bad things about this film. It's not, obviously this is not an Academy Award nominated film or a film like that. Don't go into this expecting like a deep drama, or like that's what I thought I was getting into. No, go into this is definitely your kind of like Saturday afternoon kind of film. Sit down, have a good laugh, enjoy the plot because it's still a fun story. It kind of is just a B-movie plot, feels kind of soap opera right down to the sets, but it works for this film. So from a film standpoint, I really can't say a bad thing about it. I think it's a really fun film, fun little romp. I think you'll have a good time viewing it. But we're not here just to talk about the film, we're here to talk about Arrow Video's new 4K Blu-ray release. So this is the brand new Arrow Video 4K Blu-ray release, and they whipped out the old Arrow Video hardcover, which I really love. I love this case. They put this on their RoboCop and the Donnie Darko that I own. They don't put every single one of their films in this case. This is only really their special casing. I think they do this for like once a month with some of their bigger 4K releases. And for the month of May of 2022, this was Arrow Video's big time release that they were promoting on their website, and I grabbed it. That's actually what drew me in, was the box art. Not often do I get just drawn in by a box art for a film, but this really got me. I love the colors. I love the orange and the blues. It really just feels, and it feels exactly like how the film is, like that Florida tone. It really did depict it very well on the box art. You got the swamp on the back. I really love that. And then you can see on the side here that there's the 4K. They got a booklet, so if you were to whip it out, when they use a really good paper for this too. It's got that hard paper. It's got kind of like a matte finish, so if you see, it's not very glossy, which I always love that. You know, it feels premium. Like if you guys watch my Candyman 4K review, that's one thing I did knock about it, was the casing and everything, because it does feel cheaper in comparison to like what Arrow Video does with these. You also get a poster, which they did with RoboCop and Donnie Darko. You get a poster in there, and then right here is your 4K release. So here's the 4K Blu-ray. Eventually, I'm sure they will release this on its own, and this is what you'll get if you just buy the 4K Blu-ray. On the inside, it's one disc, not a 3-disc set, not a 2-disc set. You get one 4K. So if you were going to buy this and you know you just wanted a Blu-ray, there is no Blu-ray. It's just one 4K. Everything is on there. And then to the left here, you get these pretty cool, like I guess like postcards. It says, they all say Wild Things on the side, and again, a very thick, hard material. And you get like pictures, almost like these headshots from the film. Like that is really cool. I mean, honestly, like packaging, again from Arrow Video, I think they always nail the packaging. This is a solid 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, A+ packaging, as always. But when you buy a 4K, you don't just worry about what the packaging is. It has to hold up on disc. And you know what? The disc holds up very well. This is some of the best visuals. I can't compare it to, like I said, this is the first time I've ever seen the film, but I imagine it's the best quality you're going to see, because this movie takes place, a lot of it in the daytime, in the sun of Florida, and it looks beautiful. It really does. Everything popped off my screen. It has HDR10 and it has Dolby Vision, so it all looks perfect. Honestly, I just watched Candyman yesterday, like I said, but when you go from watching a movie that's very dark and grimy and then watching a very sunny lit with a lot of colors, the HDR really shows off the colors. Everything really popped. There's a lot of water in this film, so that blue really shines. The blacks are deep as always, but the colors are the really shining star for this because of the HDR that really makes them all pop. So it's definitely top-notch visual quality, and I wouldn't have expected anything else. It really looked amazing. It's a great 4K visual upgrade. It's going to test your system. I watched this on two TVs. I watched this on my LG OLED, and I watched this on my Sony 950H, and they both made this film look great. I don't think it really matters what kind of panel you have. I really think that this is going to pop because the HDR quality off the disc is perfect as long as you have the technology to run it. Now, what about the audio? There is no Dolby Atmos track. I was a little disappointed by that. It didn't really need it. The score really did play very well. It has a DTS HD 5.1 on here, which I thought was actually very well done. I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well they used the speakers for this. There was times like where the audio would be just coming from my right. It felt almost like an Atmos track in that sense, where sounds were coming from all different angles. I really do think that this was mixed very, very well. Especially for a DTS HD, I feel like people hear that and they get a little disappointed because there's no Atmos track, but I really don't think it needed it, actually. If I'm being 100% honest, I thought that the Atmos track was very unnecessary for this. I really thought the DTS HD was on there. It really made this very unique and original score pop. The score on this is very unique. I have never really heard too much like this. I really can't describe the instruments that were being used, to be honest. I'm not a musician, but it really did impress me. I was like, okay, this fits perfectly in with what this film is doing. And the audio track that they put on this really showed off and let that score really play well. So I really do think that the audio track, even if it's not a Dolby Atmos, is very well. And now we're going to come to my one griping and big negative. Like I told you, everything is on that 4K disc. That means that something had to fall to the wayside because there is two versions of this film on here. There is a theatrical and there is an unrated cut. And then you also have to somehow get all the extras on this disc. And that's where this disc doesn't have much to flourish. There are not many extras on here. There's a few commentary tracks, so if you're huge into commentary tracks, there's actually quite a few of them on here, so you're going to be very excited. But for people like me who want to see like a making-of documentary or a retrospect because this film came out 24 years ago, that's not on here. We get some on-set interviews, we get some deleted scenes. The best extra on here, it's only 27 seconds long, and it's just Bill Murray doing outtakes for the first time that, I guess for each take that he did with Matt Dillon when they first meet, they're just going through each line that he tried to use because he's just improvising, and I thought that was the best extra on here, and it's only 27 seconds long, so the extras for me really weren't that impressive, but me personally, I would have really liked some retrospect, maybe sat down with the cast now and get their thoughts on what the making of the film is, especially Kevin Bacon, because I would have loved to know what their thought process of 1998 was, because I would have really loved that, and a documentary would have been really nice to have on here, but we don't get that. So the extras for me kind of did fall flat, and that's kind of disappointing. I mean, it might just be my personal opinion. If you're really into audio commentary, like I said, you're gonna be happy, but I gotta be honest, I was not too impressed with it. I really thought that maybe a second disc of special features would have been very nice, but you know, we can't get everything, so that's my one negative on this, is definitely the special features. But if I'm gonna rate this entire thing as a package with the film included, including visuals, audio, the quality of the film, the packaging, which as I said is phenomenal, and the special features, I'm gonna probably give Wild Things a pretty solid 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, the film is not the greatest film. The audio is amazing, the visuals are amazing, the packaging is amazing, the special features are gonna really drag this entire thing down, but overall, if you're a fan of Wild Things, or if you haven't seen this film, I can definitely recommend this Arrow Video 4K. Now, if you can't afford the 4K, as of May 2022, this is playing on Netflix, so if you want to just check out the film and you don't want that visual and audio upgrade that you don't really care about, or you don't really feel like you need to run out and grab it, you just want to stream it, it's on Netflix as of today, so go check it out on there. And as always, guys, thank you for joining me here on another episode of Let's Talk. If you're into what we're doing here on this channel, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and you tell all your friends.